Is working, Wendy. So welcome back to another edition of Money Moves, everybody. I'm excited to be here, Wendy. How are you today?
Doing great. Happy to be here.
Good. That's always a positive, right? So school's back in session. Things are getting back to the normal groove, and I don't know about you. You've got a house full going back to school, right?
Yeah. Yep. Everybody's back, and school sports have started, and dance again. So yeah, pretty much after school, 2 o'clock on, I'm busy with kids. So
Nice. Well, good deal. So today we've got an exciting topic to talk about. You and I talked a little bit about it earlier in regards to small business owners, or if you're 1099 independent contractors and stuff. I don't know about you, but I used to have such a horrible time trying to keep track of the ebbs and flows of income and stuff like that. And, it was just so sporadic. It created a lot of undue stress. I don't know if maybe that was just me or if that's kind of what everybody does or.
Yeah. I mean, managing the money that comes in, especially in a business, talking real estate or network marketing or any kind of business where there's sales involved and it's on you, there's those ebbs and flows, and it's hard to manage for sure.
So that is what we're going to be talking about today, folks. So make sure, do us a favor, click that subscribe button, but reach out to your friends right now. If they're 1099 independent contractors or small business owners, we're going to talk about how to have some effective money management for those groups, and kind of share what we've done to make life low pressure and just seamless as possible when it comes to your money. So we'll get started in just a second. All right, we're back. So yeah, let's talk about money management for self-employed, or business owners, whatever you want to call it. If you're in the 1099 world, you know what I'm talking about. Some months you're crushing it, some months not, and so that can create some havoc, right? Real estate has seasons. You may be in seasonal business or whatever. I mean, in your world, Wendy, I'm sure that happens as well.
Yep. And we were talking to a client the other day who's in construction, and she was saying have huge months, and then, depending on weather and things like that, it might have really slow months. Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely, I know for me and my business, I was, especially with coaching, like some months I'd have huge months and other months there'd be nothing coming in. And my struggle has always been, how do I even make a budget, right? Mm-hmm. How do I do that? Because I don't even know how much money I'm going to make this month. And that was always a huge struggle for me.
Well, and it's not just you. I mean, that's one of the big things that we talk about with, like I said, with realtors and things like that. And I've had clients who are in that world, mm-hmm. Not just real estate, but the independent contractor, where they'll make a bunch of money, or they won't make a bunch of money, so they'll rack up credit card debt and things like that, mm-hmm. to pay for life's needs, right? And then they'll have a big month the next month, and then they'll pay all the credit card off completely. And then it's kind of cyclical, right? I mean, anytime you're in sales or a business owner, it tends to have ebbs and flows, kind of like the ocean current, right? Coming in and going out. So how do you manage that in going into even taking your money game to the next level with regards to budgeting and things like that? That creates a big stress. And if you've got a spouse or a significant other that has a W-2 job, and they're getting that paycheck, twice a month or every other week, and it's the same check, week in and week out, they're not used to this craziness that is, self-employed, and it created a lot of undue stress there too. Especially, if you're not the one handling the money in the house, and you're expecting your spouse to deal with that. So,
mm-hmm. Yeah. And I know the first time I ever kind of looked into doing things differently, right? Mm-hmm. I was that person. I put everything into one account, like mm-hmm. all my money that came in, all just went into one account. And like I had two struggles. One was that sometimes I didn't have enough money for all the things I needed to pay for.
More month than money.
Then more month than money. And then other times it was like, I just created poor habits because I dumped everything into one account. And those months, I had a couple years there where I was making good money every single month in my network marketing company, and it just piled up cash, and I felt like I was a freaking millionaire, and I could just spend.
Making it rain, making it rain. So
and
yeah,
I had no system for what I was doing with it, and that bit me in the butt, because that first year that I made what I considered a crap ton of money. I mean, it was probably 4 times what I was ever used to making.
yeah.
That I didn't realize how much I had to save for taxes.
Well,
And
and I
I
was gonna say
shared that here before I got into, I got into not big trouble, but you know what I mean? Like, now I have it.
yeah, you got behind the 8 ball, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's one of the things that, even if you're a W-2 employee, if you've got a side hustle or a side business, right, and that's making money, you want to kind of have a system in place. And so, what I developed, about, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, was I needed a way to kind of manage that. I'm like, there's got to be a better way, because I came out of corporate. I was paid twice a month, 1st and 15th. And I'm like, okay, how can we do this? And I started sharing this with a couple of my realtor clients and things like that. And they're like, this is great. It's so simple, yet it's genius. So we're gonna hop over, if we can share our screen here. If you could help me out there. There we go. Okay, so can you see that?
Yep.
All right. So what I'm going to do is kind of walk you through. So our company that actually does financial planning and things like that is called the Turning Point Group. Obviously the Black Swan Money is the educational side of what we do, but we developed something called the TPG Money Split System. Okay, and it sounds complicated, or maybe it doesn't, but it's super simple on how you can actually manage your money. So, if you've got your W-2 income, put that in your normal checking account, right? But if you've got 1099 income or multiple business income or a side business income, what you're going to do is you're going to create a separate receiver account. This is going to be your primary business account. Now, it doesn't have to be a formal business account with your bank, but it's an account that you use for your business and only for your business. Okay. And we're going to call that your receiver account. What does that mean? That's what receives all these extra checks, right? Whether you're getting paid from multiple businesses or whatever the case may be. And that's what we're going to do, is look at, okay, maybe I've got a side business, or millionaires, how many streams of income do they have? An average of 7. So we're going to look at possibly 3 streams of income, but they're all coming into this primary business receiver account, right? And that's something you can set up with your bank or your credit union or whatever the case may be. And it can be a regular checking account. I don't necessarily recommend a savings account for that, just because, number one, savings accounts don't really pay anything anymore. So there's really no benefit, but they do give you a lot of restrictions on moving and the money around and things like that. So just set up a separate checking account. And what happens is you're going to allocate the money in there. Okay. So first of all, take a look at, let me back on that a little bit. So what you want to do is take a look at how much money do you actually need? Okay. So what's your monthly budget amount? Okay. So if this is a full-time system, like you're a realtor and this is your full-time gig, or maybe you're single income or whatever, this is kind of how you want to have it. But you don't want to receive any more than 50%, no matter what you're making in this, towards your personal income. Okay. So a lot of people, like you said, Wendy, and I think you made a comment, you had the money coming in, it was mixed with everything else. And a lot of people that start a side business do exactly that. They think, oh my gosh, this is all this extra money that I have. So they just start spending it. Right. So they're not saving for taxes. They're not reinvesting it into the business, and they're not building a war chest. Some people call it a little nest egg or an emergency fund. I call it a war chest, because I'm in business. I want to be ready for the trying times. Right. So you don't want to pull out any more than 50% as a personal income. Okay. And then 20% of that is going to go towards taxes. Now, you may want to allocate a little bit more depending on where you're at. You want to make sure you're working with your money team. There's another video we did on that, and you're getting all of your tax write-offs, because there are a lot of benefits of being a 1099 or self-employed, right? And if you have state income tax, I live in a tax with no state income tax, but some of you, especially out in California, I've got clients out in California, you may want to put back a little bit more, but you want to allocate 20% for income taxes in general. Okay. And that's just a general statement. I'm not giving tax advice. Again, consult your tax advisor. So, and then lastly, we talked about that reinvesting in the business, right? And I don't know, what are some ways you reinvest in your business, Wendy?
I've hired coaches. I've used, invest in certain tools that help my life be easier. Right now, I have a team of virtual assistants that help out. So those are different ways I've put money back in.
Yeah, it enables you to work smarter, not harder, right? Hiring staff or, marketing, right? If you're a realtor, that stuff's not cheap, right? Mailers, things like that. These are all different ways that you can, reinvest in your business, or like you said, get some personal coaching, or maybe take an extra course or something like that. How can I reinvest? Well, you'll notice, and these numbers aren't set in stone, folks. I mean, if you only want to take 40%, but this is just kind of a general rule of thumb. But 50% towards your personal income, we want to make sure that the IRS gets theirs, right? THEIRS, the IRS theirs, and 15% reinvested in your business. Well, if you'll notice, wait a minute, that's not 100%. Where's the rest of the money going? So we want to keep 15% in that receiver account, okay, to build our business reserves. That's our war chest, right?
Yep. I love that. And this, like you said, it's not exact numbers for everybody. They're not going to be the same for everybody, but it's the whole process, right? And dividing up that money, making sure, yes, the taxes, but having a process, come up with percentages and work your way. Like I started out, I had a goal of what percentages I wanted to use. And in the beginning, I couldn't necessarily do that, right? Because my living expenses were too high. And so as time went on, though, I just would adjust it slightly, as I grew, as I just got used to it and was able to cut expenses, I would adjust those percentages just a little bit at a time. So we talk about that with investing, right? Like you don't want to go out of the gate like, oh, I'm going to put all this money away every month, but like work your way into it and developing that habit. So, and the big thing this did for me too is when your money's split up this way, you don't feel like you have as much, which is actually a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Because it shows a more real picture of what's actually there. When you're putting it all together, you feel like you have more than you actually do.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and then so, at this point, it's like, okay, well, do I keep paying 50%? How has this become consistent? And that's what, going back to that first question I asked, or the first kind of step is to assess what do you actually need to have to cover your monthly bills, right? And a little something extra. So, let's say that amount may be $10,000, okay? Or $5,000. We'll use $5,000. So once your personal income, if I made 10 grand, I know that I'm going to keep $5,000. Well, that's what I need. I don't need any more. So you keep the extra in there as reserves, and then you pay yourself a bonus and things like that. And then you start looking at reinvesting in the business. How do I pay less taxes? Well, I'm going to hire a bookkeeper and a CPA to help me, maybe set up an S-corp or something like that. And this is how you let the business pay for all of it, rather than living high on the hog the 1 month that you made a bunch of money and you're living short term, right? You're only planning for the very next month, because then you got to go out and do it all over again. But what happens is, that 50% of personal income, so 50% of what you received for personal income, or the cap of that would be what you need for your monthly amount, right? And so
I would love to live on 20%.
Yeah, exactly. So 50% is kind of the best case scenario, but you want to cut that back and let the business go and grow. And then you can start having the business pay for things. Okay. Maybe you're going to reward yourself with a company car or stuff like that. So again, talk to your tax consultant on that. But how do you set all this up? And that's again why, you want to talk about having a good money team, or at least people you can go to for Q&A. So, you do all this. I've got my streams of income coming in here. They're going into that primary account. I've got separate things going out. And what I do is I have a separate account for my taxes. So that's staying in a separate tax area. And then I did pay quarterly. Now I just pay every time I pay myself, because I've reinvested in my business and I've hired, a bookkeeper to do all this and handle my payroll. So now every payroll that I get twice a month, I pay X percent in taxes, goes automatically to the IRS. And then I keep a portion of that income. But what I'm doing is building up that war chest. It's the business's account. But that way, if something comes up unexpected or whatever, or I've got we've got a contest going on in my business, I'm going to use that to pay for the contest for the winners, things like that. But what happens is, once that personal income exceeds your monthly expenses for 3 months, and your business reserves can cover 3 months of your personal income, you're sustainable, right?
Mhm.
So you've got 3 months or more, you're covering your monthly expenses that we were just talking about, and you've got that consistent track record, and your reserves also have another 3 months in there. You should be ready to go. So for those of you that are kind of battling, okay, I only do real estate part-time or insurance part-time or whatever the case may be, now you're able to say, okay, I've got a proven track record. I've got my reserves because there will be a stormy day, right? And now you can actually go, and then, by developing this more and more income streams, you start to go from that active income where I'm trading my time for money or my effort for money into more of a passive income where I'm getting paid consistently, and you're able to go take those vacations, maybe not, take a whole month off and go somewhere. You still got those reserves, that war chest to pay for your lifestyle. Okay. And the stress level will go from here down to the floor. And it's just all of a sudden you start looking at things differently. It gives you more confidence and things like that because you don't have to worry about that. So any questions on that, Wendy?
Yeah. I love this concept. I mean, I even have a little in my Excel where I put all of my checkbook register. Remember we used to have those.
Yep.
It's in Excel, and my front sheet of Excel is where I can type my income in the top, and then it has my percentages. So when I type what my check is, it just dumps out and shows me exactly what percentage or what dollar amount goes into each bucket. And so, and like you said, just to reiterate though, that you're building that up, those reserves, so that if you do have a down month, I know like in network marketing, December is typically November's super high because of Black Friday, and December's super low because everyone skips their orders because they're buying everybody else stuff.
Yep.
And so that January paycheck that comes is always the lowest, and it's typically half. I know in my experience, it's been half of what my normal income was. So when you have this set up, you don't feel those hits when you have those low months because you've got that in there.
Especially in January when all your bills come due from, from that. So, but this is just one of the things that we, help people with and stuff like that, kind of thinking through that money and getting your financial house in order. Right. And that's really what this is all about. The whole Black Swan money, Wendy and I have kind of partnered up to share this with everybody to make sure that, you're able to live the best life possible from a money perspective. And if you need help on this, or, TPG, we give free financial plans to all of our subscribers and whatnot. Mention Money Split down in the comments below. We'll reach out to you, or reach out to us directly. I'm at Black Swan Money or Wendy Lee Online, right? We'd love to help you out. But this is just one of the ways that we can help you get your financial house in order so you can start living that life and actually doing something with the money you're making and having it there for you, not only today, but tomorrow and beyond, and even into the next generation. So show us a little love. Click that subscribe button down below. Make sure you're sharing our videos with everybody. And if you're getting stuff, we'd love to hear your feedback. If you're getting some good content out of this and it's helping you, we love that stuff. Or if you've got an idea on a show you'd like to hear about, something money moves or anything like that, let us know and we'll get you on the air possibly. So Wendy, thanks again. Have a great week. And everybody out there, we'll see you next week. Every Tuesday, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m.